Ladies and gentlemen, let's do this. First of all, let us watch this video.
Christianity is slowly starting to decline in numbers, and I've been seeing a couple clips of reverends and pastors talking about how it's not as strong as it was before, and a lot of churches are losing members and numbers are going down, and the youth isn't as interested in how can we keep them engaged and spread the word of Christ. Nothing, there's not a damn thing you can do about it now, bro. This stuff was bound to happen. You got to think. The foundation has to be strong for the building to stand tall. What's the foundation of Christianity? A book full of fairy tales talking about, you gotta think, the book starts off with a damn talking snake. How long y'all think this shit was gonna work, man? Come on now. And on top of that, people are convinced that out of all the books, it's just one book out of the billions of books, one special book that men kind of wrote, but an outside deity told him to write this one book. He created everything else his damn self, but had somebody else write a book. Come on, you can only tell a lie for so long before people start to catch on to it. On top of all the technology we got, all the information at the palm of our hands, we can easily do research now. This shit is that simple. You ask the average Christian this question, especially black ones. What were black people before Christians? They haven't even fathomed the idea because they think it just started with the Garden of Eden, and when we got here, they don't even look at the history before that to realize it's a bunch of new made up bullshit. So yes, there's nothing you could do. And the homie Ron touched on this. It was a Christian talking about the deconstruction people on TikTok. If y'all left, that means y'all was never a part of the faith. Y'all sound like an abuser in a relationship that was nice at first and the person fell in love with them, and after a while they seen they bullshit and left and going, well, if you leave me, that just means you ain't love me in the first place. No, we love being Christians at some point. We believe that, we argue up and down about it, but then we realize this is a bunch of bullshit. So that's where we are in this day and age. You can't hide the bullshit no more. People are not rocking with it.
Guys, you know, this brother is not wrong. To give you the full picture, according to Pew Research, Christianity in America has dropped from 78% in 2007 to just 62% today. Meanwhile, the number of people who say they have no religion, the so-called nones, has nearly doubled from 16% to 29%. 35% of US adults report that their current religious identity differs from the one they were raised with, meaning over a third have switched religions, become unaffiliated, or redefined their spiritual beliefs. And 40 to 45% of the Gen Z say they are religiously unaffiliated. This growth is one of the strongest indicators of faith reconstruction, church decline, and changing spiritual landscapes. But why? Why are people questioning? Why are people stepping back? And why are people slowly letting go something that was once believed to be sacred, meaningful, and essential? Today, I want us to answer this question in depth, drawing examples from other creators and pointing out real religious scandals that caused this global awakening. Furthermore, does the Bible support the deconstruction of the Christian faith? Before we even get deep into the video, I would like to clear the misconception that deconstruction is rebellion. It's not. Deconstruction is a response to real pain, unanswered questions, and a longing for truth. It's about taking faith apart piece by piece to see what is real. And often, people keep Jesus but leave the institution. Most people are not living because they hate God. They are living because they feel the church is not living what it preaches. During my research, I discovered people are leaving the church for a number of reasons, including hypocrisy and abuse in the church, abuse of power and control, doubt and intellectual honesty, cultural and social issues, church hurt and personal trauma, shallow teaching and celebrity pastors, and desire for a more authentic faith. These are all reasons why people are deconstructing, among many others. But to be honest, all I hear while reading these reasons is loss of trust in the church. Take a look at this video and tell me, how do you keep trusting the church after witnessing a thing such as this?
A plumber just doing his job at Lakewood Church discovered an undisclosed amount of money.
It was the craziest phone call we've ever had.
This morning, the co-host asked people about valuable things they found and received a call from a plumber who recently did some work at Lakewood Church.
There was a loose toilet in the wall, and we removed the tile. Well, they removed the tile, and about 500 envelopes fell out of the wall. And I was like, oh, wow.
Back in 2014, the mega church made headlines after someone stole $600,000. In a statement, Lakewood Church said recently, while repair work was being done at Lakewood Church, an undisclosed amount of cash and checks were found. Lakewood immediately notified the Houston Police Department and is assisting them with their investigation. HPD has not confirmed the money stolen years ago and the money found by the plumber are related. But Lindsay says investigators would have never known about the money if it wasn't for the plumber who discovered it.
Guys, that is Lakewood Church, led by Pastor Joel Austin, the same guy that initially refused to make his facility a shelter during one of the most devastating disasters in the history of America. And you might think, even hope, that he is the only shady religious teacher. And then you come across the likes of Gateway Church in Texas, whose founder, Robert Morris, was indicted in March 2025 on 5 felony counts of lewd or indecent acts with a child. So he resigned in 2024 amid the scandal, a scandal that led to the loss of 20,000 attendees, roughly 25 to 40% of its congregation. And the donations plummeted by up to 40%, forcing mass layoffs. How about the Champion Forest Baptist Church in Houston, whereby lawsuits involving multiple claims of child sexual abuse by a former youth pastor were settled? And then there is Lexington Church in Kentucky, who suffered a permanent closure following a rape and sodomy scandal involving a former executive pastor and a minor. And last but not least, in Ohio, Faith Life Church abused and issued non-disclosure agreements to 11 alleged victims who were identified after multiple women, including the daughter of the church founders, accused a youth leader and the founder's son of sexual abuse. Am I the only one concerned and encouraging deconstruction from the Christian faith? Oh no. Ladies and gentlemen, let's meet Rhett McLaughlin of Wreath and Link, who in a widely viewed Ear Biscuit episode detailed his gradual departure from Christianity. He described being unable to reconcile scientific understanding with biblical narratives and called out a lack of empathy for the marginalized within evangelicalism. He also admitted that his deep longing to know God actually led to unraveling his faith. He said, not my words, these are his words. He said this preoccupation with God, curiosity about God, is ironically what unraveled my faith in God. Another example is Elisa Grenfell, who was formerly a member of the Latter-day Saints Church. Elsa started deconstructing in her mid-20s due to disillusionment with gender roles, marriage expectations, and overall culture constraint of Mormonism. These are just a few examples of countless deconstruction stories. And we can see that people have slowly developed devastating trust issues towards the church. So, what does the Bible say about this phenomenon? In the book of Matthew, chapter 23, verse 27 to 28, Jesus himself is calling out hypocrisy by confronting corrupt religious leaders, exactly what many people are doing today. Jesus said, "Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You are like whitewashed tombs, which look beautiful on the outside, but on the inside they are full of bones of the dead and everything unclean." And in the book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 21, we get to understand what deconstruction is all about. Deconstruction is about testing teachings, traditions, and systems, and keeping only what is true. Because Paul is telling Thessalonians, but test everything, hold fast what is good. How about in the book of Amos chapter 5 verse 21 to 24, where we get to see that God demands justice over empty religion. He is saying, "I hate, I despise your religious festivals. Your assemblies are a stench to me, but let justice roll on like a river, righteousness like a never-failing stream." In my opinion, this is God encouraging believers to leave corrupt religious practices behind. And in the book of Ephesians chapter 5 verse 11, believers are being advised to expose darkness, not ignore it, in the name of good PR. And finally, in the book of John chapter 8 verse 32, Jesus is telling believers to seek truth and set themselves free. So before pastors demand that we hold on to religion and try to guilt trip believers by saying that those who deconstructed were never believers in the first place, I want to remind them that just because people are abandoning church does not mean that they never believed in God and the efficacy of the church at some point in their lives. I am baffled by pastors who tend to think that they are entitled to believers' loyalty, commitment, and devotion. I just want to remind them that people are on a quest to find truth, and if they can't find it in your church, they are free to leave whenever they want to. Have pastors ever considered that maybe this is God setting people free from fake religion so they can find Him again? And to close this session, let me speak to those individuals who are in the process of deconstructing or are considering deconstructing. I just want to caution you that deconstruction can be dangerous if you get stuck in bitterness. But it can also be beautiful if it leads to a more honest faith, peace, and mental, social, and financial stability. So, to you watching this, if you are deconstructing, you are not alone. You are not a rebel for asking questions. You are a seeker of truth. And maybe that is the most faithful thing you can do. And if you walk away from the noise and the scandals, but hold on to Jesus, maybe that's not losing faith. Maybe that's finding it. So you should know that this is not the end of faith. This is the start of something real. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all we had for today. Okay? I told you we're gonna keep on cranking out these videos until people finally take notice of this channel and finally people set themselves free. So if you like the video, like, comment, subscribe, share, keep the conversation going, because we need to push this message to as many people as possible.